Good afternoon. It is Tuesday, March the 30th, 2021. Sagel, David Lahash, Juts, and welcome to today's edition of the COVID-19 Task Force Update on this, our 196th edition of Kahnawà 911. This afternoon, our guests will include community member Daryl Thompson and Lisa Westaway, the Executive Director of the Kmhc. And now, here is our first guest, Daryl.
Sego kati nangwa hisis wa gweko ne ka Kahnawà gelone. Ono ne sagwana hawa ni vaccinated ne chikili mandoni wadogani kawanoto santa kawaninako. So on behalf of the KTV, I was asked to have a few words to mention, and I started off in Mohawk and the language here, so I wanted to discuss and fill in a little bit of what I said prior to the opening of the vaccinations up the road there by the big highway. So on the topic of what I was saying, in the area of, we have this COVID issue happening. So I had mentioned that even myself, being born and raised and given the cultural background of, in traditions, we were always taught and given those medicines to be known to us first, was certain medicines to be used for certain things. So some of you people, I'm not able to say to all of you prior to, but I'll say it today. That's why I'm here today, to help assist many of you with this variant that's happening today. We could still gather our herbal practice and involve some herbs as in white pine and cedar, boiling it up, steaming it up in our homes and our natural disinfectant in the past. And it should be pretty much done each morning, daily, to help keep your house clean and keep a lot of the other virus pollutants coming into your place. It's a safety measure that probably our people always have done way back, and I just wanted to share and help people out here in the community sharing this knowledge that was given from my grandparents, my elders, my uncles. So it's a good measure that I use, and so far so good. I have no wood to knock on, but everything has been successful with this practice and willing to share with you today. So with that said, I just wanted to put a few words of input towards the community for their sake. Been living here for a while now, so it's only good that I share whatever that could be useful for the people, for the well-being of the community. Kahnawà. Waga tani kawana ke waga le tani. Ntikili wa yeste ne ka sundulo. Jinije ta waga ona ne oahake. Ta waka tasau wagali wa hunduku. Skana zawano dunyo. Tana ne o ni tkayeli ne itawats to jalotsko. Na ho to kayo skana itawato. So with that said, as an ending, I always wanted to say to keep open mind on everything that's around us. Let it be all useful to us. Let us not be getting in an area, being stuck and short down the end, at the end of the road here. So tono nakawona ke wakalanu. Deka jalo cha. Skana is wado, Honda Jogan Hike. Tonayo Tuhaka, Quakanaswanikola. Dana top. Yeah. Good enough.
Yeah, Daryl. Coming up now, we have Lisa Westaway, the Executive Director of the Kmhc. And without any further ado, Lisa.
Good afternoon, thanks. Thank you very much for that. A few things that, we have quite a few things to mention today. Testing site. just to mention that yesterday was 1 year since we opened the testing site at Kmhc. So I just really want to offer thanks to the staff that are working there. Really, it's not a job that's fun. It's the place where people go who are frustrated and angry or scared, and oftentimes will express that to the staff. And so just a really big thank you for people who are working at the testing site who actually have other jobs and have graciously moved over to do that work that is very difficult but for the benefit of the community. So we wanted to thank the staff specifically there at the testing site today, and also mention that over the Easter break we will be taking the 4 days off. So the testing site will be closed on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. However, we have spoken with the Chateauguay site, which is on 167 Maple in Chateauguay, and anybody who is experiencing COVID-related symptoms can call the number that we mentioned often a year ago, 1-877-644-4545, and you will be given an appointment at the Chateauguay site, which is very, very close. And they're open every day during the holiday period. So there's also a website that you can go to book your appointment, and there'll be actually a release that will come out a little bit later today, so you'll have access in print to that information. Also wanted to talk a little bit about visitation. I mentioned it earlier at Kmhc inpatient T-Bell and ILC. So the staff are working really hard in developing protocols so that we can bring in 1 visitor per week per resident, and that's for those who don't already have natural caregivers, because natural caregivers have been coming in regularly for some patients, but there are several residents who have not had any visitors for quite some time since the fall, and therefore protocols are being developed. We will be asking for this first phase that you have been vaccinated, and that's why we haven't started it yet, because most people are at their 21 days post-vaccination starting this week or next, and therefore visitation will start at that same time. So it's only 1 person, and we still have to keep track of the number of people who are on the floor, and we still have to ensure all safety measures are in place and respected at all times. And this is because there is always a risk in visitation and increasing traffic flow within the 3 residences, because even though we have been vaccinated, we are still waiting on some information about the variants and the impacts of vaccination on the variants and how that limits transmission of the virus. So we maintain all measures to be safe. However, we do have a decreased risk with vaccination, and therefore we want to open it up a little bit so that you can have connection with your loved ones. So if you haven't already received a call, you will be shortly to make those arrangements. So let's go to vaccination. So one important goal that we've had from the beginning is to give accurate, reliable information to community members. And we know that sometimes it's really difficult to ask your questions in an open forum. We see that that has been difficult from the beginning. So it might be a little late, but better late than never. We do have a nurse that is in place to answer all of your questions. It's confidential. Whenever you like, between 9 and 6, you can call Kmhc 450-638-3930, extension 2213, again between 9 and 6, and a nurse will answer your COVID vaccination-related questions. Again, a communique went out today, so you have that extension with you. And I really urge you to call for whatever questions you might have. There'll always be a nurse that will answer that line for you, and if there's no answer, please leave a message and we will call you back. So on to the hours of operation for the vaccination site. One obstacle or what we have observed is that there is, of course, the walk-ins have worked really well. So we continue that. We continue walk-ins until the end of the week, but we're changing our hours of operation to accommodate people who are at work, because not everyone is leaving work necessarily or can leave work. So today we were open 9 to 5. Wednesday, Thursday, our changes of schedule were open from 11 to 7. And again, again, you can book an appointment. You will be prioritized, but you can also walk in without an appointment. Friday, 9 to 5. So we had originally identified the 6th as our last day of vaccination. However, it is now going to be April 2nd from 9 to 5. Friday is a holiday, I know that, but we are still open and we do have to use the vaccine before they are no longer usable. So, so this week, please make your way over to the vaccination site. Some of you are waiting to the last day. That's okay. We will be able to accommodate you. We have measures in place if we have a lot of people that walk in without appointments. So although this is the last full week, we will be still open next week. However, we're going to be vaccinating people who are providing a service to community members, therefore who could potentially pose a risk to our community as well. And so certain businesses will be targeted and will be reaching out to you, and that will happen very shortly if it hasn't already. But please do not walk in. You do require an appointment, and we will make those arrangements with each business owner over the coming days. So that will be next week. And of course, if you're from Kahnawà and you've changed your mind and you want to be vaccinated, the doors are not closed to you. You are always welcome next week during the hours of operation. You can come in to be vaccinated. However, again, our community is prioritized this week, so we ask that you come in this week as much as possible. Especially because we will be having to plan leftover doses and how we manage that. So the more community members we have vaccinated this week, the better we are able to make appropriate decisions for the community. We also have some really good news. We've been negotiating to make arrangements to vaccinate our 16 and 17-year-olds. And we have had approval to receive Pfizer vaccines for 16 and 17-year-olds. So we've calculated that's approximately 150 to 200 doses. We're still working out the logistics of the delivery. However, we expect to vaccinate 16 and 17-year-olds somewhere around the week of the 11th of April. And again, we will give you more information as we receive it in terms of how to book and dates and times and things like that. So this is really exciting news. Many of you have called in and asked, and so we're happy to be able to do this to vaccinate as many people as possible. And so that brings me to another point, as many people as possible, and actually our numbers. So in discussion with Dr. Fuller, who has done many censuses in the community over the past years, we realized that we may have overestimated the actual total population eligible for vaccination within Kahnawà, and therefore the percentages that we've been presenting to you may actually be much lower than reality. So we are in the process of re-evaluating those numbers so that we can present to you numbers that are as accurate as possible, given the fact that we can't fully identify how many eligible people there are within the community, but we're going to do our best to bring you numbers that are as accurate as possible, and we're estimating already that we are well and above the 70% mark. So we're really, really pleased with that. We really thank you for getting together and making this happen, and if we hope to have more details to give you on Thursday regarding actual numbers. So that's it. Oh, one last thing, really important thing. We just want to thank the 207 restaurant for their generous donation. So they will be making 5 draws of $100 for their restaurant for the vaccination site. So for those community members who were vaccinated. So thank you very much for that generous donation. Thanks.
Thank you very much for that update, Lisa. And just before we go, reminder that you can now book your appointment for your COVID-19 vaccine by visiting Kahnawake911.com/vaccine, and you can also click the link, and of course you can also call KMHC at 450-638-3930, extension 2296, 2295 or 2206. And also we're continuing to showcase our vaccination testimonials, and if you'd like to submit your own, you can do so at questions@mck.ca, or you can just click the link on our Kahnawake 911 Facebook page. And that's it for today's show from all of us here. Thanks for watching.
day that they opened the bingo on the 4th of March, and I was kind of anxious to get the vaccination because of my age, for one thing, and I encourage people that are, especially 65 and over, to get their vaccination because it's a safety issue, and for people younger, it's also a safety for your families as well as yourself. So I really think that in spite of what anybody may have told you about the vaccine, it's safe and it's for our own protection and the protection of our whole community. Kmhc.